Yep, the rumors are true. It's me, your host, as always, James Donnelly. And I'm back, bitches! Because it's time for new comics, bitches! Yeah. So yes, we're back. We're back with our weekly cast, and again, thanks to all of you who've shown your support and coming back. And I'm super happy that you're out there and I'm in here. Stay where you are. This is an emergency. Anyway, I'm tired and I'm out of my mind apparently. So let's get right down to it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that WonderCon happened a little while ago, and at WonderCon, Mark Waid, who people who are new to comics know as, okay, he's the guy that's currently writing the awesome, spectacular run on Daredevil. Well, of course, he's done a lot more than that over the years, obviously writing Flash and, kind of redefining that for the 90s, really making Wally West into, quite the hero, and, introducing ideas like the Speed Force and so on and so forth. And obviously he wrote Kingdom Come with Alex Ross, which is one of the preeminent, kind of like great works of comic books over the last several years. But he made the announcement that he was essentially going to start a new digital line of comics. And some of you might even have seen part of that line this week. Well, this is not his own thing. He's going to be actually doing his own thing. It's going to be kind of like a digital revolution of comics. It is basically their comics. They're not motion comics. They're not just digital read-em comics like Comixology, reformatted, basically taking the same panels and so on and so forth and reformatting them for your computer or your tablet or your iPod or whatever. But they're actually made specifically to be digital, to show what the power can be of making a really good digital comic. And he started that this past week with, at least on the Marvel side, I think they call it the Marvel Infinite line, and he did his first issue of Avengers vs. X-Men Infinite, which to my understanding actually follows. It's like a prequel to. It's not like a number 0. It's like a prequel to, like the event. Well, I shouldn't say prequel. It's really like what happened like right before everything in Avengers vs. X-Men number 1 happened, which is with the new Nova, Sam Alexander. But if you go to markwaid.com, he has a little digital comic called Luther. And you need Adobe, so I guess I don't know if you can't do that on your iPad because that doesn't support Adobe. So I guess you gotta get out your Android or your home computer and read it like that. Because it's in PDF format, so I guess you can read it on. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't use any Apple products, so except for my iPod. My second gen iPod Touch, and it's not even mine, it's my wife's. Although it is kind of mine since she has her iPhone now. But anyway, so there's that, and it's called Luther, and I think it's something that he wrote a while ago, and it's about a cleanup crew of a post-apocalyptic zombie outbreak. And it's really cool and really interesting. It's a really well-written comic. It's just really well made. And it is really cool, actually, the way that they use the digital format to make the comic. So I highly suggest checking that out. because not only is it just a really well done comic, but it's a really, it's just a really cool thing. Now, this is not going to, I don't think this is going to be the future of comics, but it's definitely going to be a part of comics real soon, because I don't think this is the kind of shit that you can torrent, so that you can steal it off of Pirate Bay or BitTorrent.com or whatever. So anyway, so let's also, since we're talking about things that are not comics, also want to talk a little bit, because some people have asked recently, have I been watching the second season of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and now the new Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon that's on, they're both on Disney XD, at least here in the US they are. I don't know about Canada or the UK or wherever else, but Chris Yost is kind of like the showrunner of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and Paul Dini he's kind of like the creative consultant on Ultimate Spider-Man, which is very odd, because Paul Dini, you generally think of, he's a DC guy, right? He wrote a lot of, he did, Batman the Animated Series for years. He was involved in some episodes of Justice League. He wrote the script and the plot for both, Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham City games. And now here he is doing Ultimate Spider-Man. So, it's kind of a weird turn of events, I would think, kind of going across the aisle like that. So I guess we'll start with talking about that a little bit. Because I want to talk about some other media for a change, I guess. So Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, if you haven't been reading it, start. Or if you haven't been reading it, if you haven't been watching it, start. Because it's a great show. It's a great cartoon. It's... it's everything that an Avengers cartoon should be. It really is. It actually kind of links up with some of the stories that we've seen lately. Like last season, you had obviously the introduction to the Avengers, you had the Masters of Evil, and at the very end of the season, you saw hints of the kind of Secret Invasion storyline as Skrulls started to infiltrate the Earth. And of course, so you have in this season, what it looks like we're about to have is the Kree-Skrull War happen on Earth, because we had everything last season with with obviously the Avengers and the Masters of Evil, and then Kang the Conqueror and Ultron. So now it looks like the big stories of this year are going to be probably the Kree-Skrull War and, of course, Secret Invasion. I'm really looking forward to see how they translate that. The voice talent is terrific for Avengers. Because it's not like, but it's not like the guest voices that you see a lot in the DC universe. It's more of people who are professional voiceover artists. But the guy who they got to do Tony Stark sounds a lot like Robert Downey Jr. That's obviously no accident. And just everything about that show, it's as good as Justice League was. So if you're a fan of Justice League, you'll definitely be a fan of the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. If you're a fan of Spider-Man, you will definitely be a fan of Ultimate Spider-Man. It's a great cartoon so far. Now, of course, this is not your typical Spider-Man story. It's basically, Spidey's only been at it for about a year here. He's still in high school, and he's been tapped by Nick Fury to basically get some additional SHIELD tech and to so that he can get SHIELD training to become the ultimate Spider-Man. And also, that is another thing that's going on in Avengers. They're still talking about registration. So, so we might even see maybe a little hint or two of Civil War in there as well. But Ultimate Spider-Man is, like I said, it's everything that you would want out of a Spider-Man cartoon, in the sense that it's very witty, it's very engaging, it's an incredibly well done cartoon, and it plays a lot with the genre. It plays a lot with the animation in enhancing the story. And here he's basically forced to team up with these 4 other young would-be superheroes. In this case, it's Iron Fist. Like I said, I'm really tired. So you got Iron Fist, Power Man, White Tiger, and Nova, but it's the Sam Alexander Nova, not the Richard Rider Nova, because I'm assuming that the Richard Rider Nova is actually dead. So I guess they just can't bring him back to life. And I think this is going to somehow, they want this character in there because it ties into events that are going on, especially right now, in the Marvel Universe. So so that's great. It's a great cartoon. And also we've got continuation, just started not too long ago, the second season of Young Justice, which again, terrific stuff from DC. We got the whole DC Nation thing going on right now with both Young Justice and the new Green Lantern animated series, which is all CG. The Green Lantern is awesome. It's kind of like it's really kind of like, what if Pixar took Green Lantern and made it their own? So I mean, because it uses the kind of designs that you would see from a Bruce Timm designed cartoon, but it gives them full 3-dimensional rendering, and it's eye-poppingly beautiful. It's a really fun run, because you've got it's Hal and Kilowog, and then you've got this Red Lantern that they've essentially teamed up with, and the AI that they use to pilot their ship is now becoming like a Green Lantern, sort of. And Young Justice has, again, a lot more adult themes. Well, not adult, but more mature themes, as far as there's a mole within the group. You've got these major league villains like Vandal Savage and so on and so forth. And so Cheshire, and Red Arrow is now part of the team, and all these things that have to do with the Justice League, and Lex Luthor, and again, there's a lot more kind of guest voices there, but it's just really good stuff. And the superhero cartoons that are out right now they're fantastic, and I highly recommend all of them to all of you. So because if you like the comic books, you're really going to dig these cartoons, because it's really strong what they're doing with animation right now as far as the superhero genre. And they also announced that sometime, I believe next year, they're going to be doing Beware the Batman, which is going to be another CG animated tale with, of course, Batman being supported by his former British Secret Service agent butler, Alfred, and also the character of Katana. And I think this is supposed to be him at the beginning of his career. Anyway, so we've talked enough about cartoons, so let's get into comics, and we'll do that in part 2 of this week's New Comics, bitches! So stay tuned. We'll be right back.